Hey everyone, Matt here, back for another 200 Zoom Play and Explain. I'm testing out a new background and felt color. Let me know what you think about this one. I kind of like it. Trying it out, we'll see though. But yeah, let's hop in. 4 tables, the usual. Three bet there on the higher-ish roll, 55. I'll bet big on this board. As I would with most of my range. Queen's an interesting card. We can bet this at a pretty high frequency. I know I rolled a 20, but I honestly think this might be a pure bet. I could be wrong, but we'll see. It just seems so good. Blocking ace queen. Okay, I did not expect that. On 10-6, I think it's a fold versus under the gun. It's also possible I could have used a smaller size. Usually when you bet big and an overcard comes, it's really good for you. Bet a ton here. I know some people use a smaller size, but it is what it is. Something I'm trying to do more and more lately is not worry too much about using the exact sizes. Just whatever size I pick, just make sure I'm playing that size correctly. I think we might have to call here again, actually. Now fold. Low roll, I'll fold that. Lower roll, just call. For a small bet. Pure continue. I think we'll stab a lot. Maker always does that every time we're in a hand together. Obviously 4 bet. No reason, I think, to shove. Just call. I guess with the diamond, we probably can't fold, although it's getting really close. Just call. It is getting really close, though, I think, versus half pot. Playing a recreational. I'm not going to bet everything. Because they overstab, I actually prefer like this line. We got punished there. I know this is kind of like a nonsense hand, but some of the experimenting I've been doing, as I've been talking about in my blog, I think works fairly well. And the idea behind it is that they overstab turn, and you could bluff raise them quite a bit. I know you might say, well, the recreational only has 18 big blinds. What's the point? But I think there's a lot of snap folds there. I'm going to take a look at that 8's hand later as well, just to make sure I was right about that. Don't really see a reason to stab here. This could be way off base, but I feel like we have to defend this sometimes. But I rolled a 12, so I'll justify the fold, but I'm not certain about that. Bets pot, Johnny John. I know it's a recreational, and how do you fold a pair versus a recreational? But being an underpair to the board and without the diamond, I'm just going to fold this right away. I'm also going to fold here. Might look criminal, but our hand can't really improve, and it's already basically a bluff catcher. So here I mix between call and fold in 49. I'll just fold. So this is interesting. I have this player marked as a special player. Sometimes when they're playing recreational, they just prefer to go bet. But I think being out of position, it probably doesn't matter. And now I'll just go big twice. And ace probably is never folding, so. Whoa. I did not expect that. I think just call. Do I have a note? Dunk. 3/0, so. It's not the best, the best river by any means, but we were probably calling, or I would say we weren't probably calling, we were for sure calling. And here, bishop back, yes. And here I would min raise, but I feel like pot's just so big, we'll just shove. See if we get there. Oh! We're due for some run good actually on 200 zoom. Aces again. Four bet here, obviously. I don't know how I feel about this felt. I kind of like it as it's something different. Let's just call the 40. Call in the higher roll. That's a pretty good flop. I wonder if we ever should donk. I will now. Down there calling for sure. That's interesting. I think we can still block, honestly. Just make sure I'm not overplaying that. Although, something I've been thinking about recently as well is how often is that spot ever going to happen again? Probably not very often, so I don't want to waste too much time. I swear, did I not see about that? I guess I did. Click it. This is interesting. I kind of want to call, honestly. 185. Nice. It's just good blockers, I think. Who knows if that's actually a thing in theory. But back to what I was saying. I've been skipping some hands that I've been marking for review as well. Because they're just spots that aren't going to happen very often, and I don't think it's worth wasting my time studying them. Obviously, it's good to just glance over them and think a little bit, but in terms of like spending the time running the sim, and it just might not be worth it because you're never going to see that spot again. I hate when people raise in position. Usually it's not a thing. Maybe it is here. I don't know. Not going anywhere. Nothing to do but check. It's a funny note. That would be why I had labeled this player as a clown. Those stats look reasonable. Okay. I just feel like that's a bluff, but what am I going to do about it? Mix in a 4-bet every now and then, but not that time. Reasonable turn. And yeah, I'm guessing now we just barrel off. The question is, like, can we actually just start betting bigger already? I'm not really going to be betting of any of these pairs for protection, so Okay then. Heard the red line the past couple hands there. Real low, just call. This is a tough spot, honestly. Every time I think that there's going to be an overbet, there's not, and I feel like in this situation, maybe it's higher EV to go for the check raise or even the block, hope for 3-bet. I'm going to go for the check raise instead. What do we do on this board? Something, I don't know if this is a thing, but this is what's calling my name here. This could be just a punt here, but I'm thinking, do I really want to do that on that board? We'll see. Okay. I really don't know if that's a thing. We might have just got really lucky. And this hand I think is pretty interesting. The bet check bet. I feel like a lot of people think they know how to play, but if you practice that spot, I would bet that you don't. I feel like a lot of people overbet way too much because they think, oh, I have the nuts, the in-position player can't, so I'm an overbet. But then when they look at the hand, and Pyle prefers a check raise or like a small bet going for the block 3-bet kind of thing. It's a really tough note, honestly. I remember when I was getting coaching from somebody, they recommended that I use a block and an overbet only in that node and never really use 75 just to kind of simplify your life. But I don't know if I really like that because there's some situations where it's just so obvious that 75 would make sense. Example I'm thinking of is if let's say the flop is like, I don't know, king 7 deuce and it goes low low and you have like king jack, like king jack, king 10, it's not really strong enough to overbet depending on the formation, but in position just has so many queens, jacks, 10s, 9s that are going to call a medium-sized bet. So a situation like that, I just feel it's so obvious to do it. Whoa. I think using a bigger size is better on this board. I guess I can't fold this to half pot, but these delay when there's a 4-card straight spots I hate. Or same if it was a monotone flop and then the next card is a 4-card flush and then they delay and they use like a bigger size and it's like, how much should I really be calling here? Rolled high. See, this is another situation, right? I'm going to review that just to see. And maybe that one will actually be worth it, but how often again are we going to see a 4-card straight turn versus a delay? It's not going to be very often. I just feel like this hand just wants to check. I don't think it really accomplishes anything, so we got aces again. How many times we're going to get aces in this play and explain? That's not the flop we wanted with ace queen. And no action there. Sucks, but what are we gonna do? Bet range. There's only one straight. Does bring in some two pairs, might have some offsuit. So I'm curious if this is an overbet or just a 75. I'm gonna go 75. Can't fold. It's a good river. He shoves. Wow. I'm gonna call just because and we're rolling the 59. My thinking is the 6 is just such a good card on the river because it reduces their value combo so much. And maybe there's a chance that he doesn't even call 6-5 off in that formation. And it would just be 6-5 suited, which is going to 3-bet sometimes. Won't really have 6 deuce. Obviously block some king 6. I feel like that's a spot where it's like check, raise, turn, bet, river. People always go, oh, it's severely under bluffed. It's probably generally true, but then you call sometimes and you see, wow, people do have bluffs in some spots. I mentioned this a couple times in some low stakes streamers chat. Sometimes I lurk in and I talk to them and they always go, oh, nobody bluffs here. And then they always fold, but like, I'm not trying to be results oriented and say, because look, I caught a bluff, like people bluff, but if anything, I think people over bluff, especially in a lot of spots that they think are severely under bluff just because they don't have as many value bets. So as long as they're bluffing like one combo, it's generally going to be enough. This is weird because if we hit a 10, we're not really good. We'll bet anyways. What a run out for aces. Actually wondering if this is pretty good. It's always weird when like the flush comes in and usually you want to bet small, but it's different when the flush draws on the flop as opposed to the flush draw on the turn, because it's less likely they have a flush. So maybe even medium would have been better. Maybe not even overbet. Here we're calling ace high, gut shot, blind v blind. This is definitely an interesting one. It looks like I'm kind of timing out on some. See, that hand's a better hand to review because that's a spot that's going to happen way more often. See if we get to play versus CG. Nope. Fellow streamer. 55, we'll just stab. I never know what to do here when I check back a weaker ace. I mean, my gut's telling me check, but then at the same time, there's like a lot of pair plus draws. Maybe we can get value now, not necessarily on the river, so I'm going to bet. Could be wrong with that, but I'm trying to up the delay c-bet frequency, and when I'm drilling these nodes, I notice this where like I'll just have a hand where it's like, oh, I don't have 2 straight, snap check back, but then it bets it. Here, I think you can go either way, but probably check without the flush draws. And now we'll just check. Wow. And I feel like now we actually just can get some value. And we do. Queens again, button versus small blind. Oh. That's not the flop we want to see, but we should get a lot of folds. I wonder if we could check. But I feel like we're going to get so many folds is the thing. But there's situations where you have a hand that doesn't really care for c-betting, but because the other player folds so much, it's just profitable to c-bet. Yeah, you'll find that a lot. MP opens, cut off 3-bets situations, or like, say for example, MP versus big blind in a single raise pot where there's high cards on the flop where you think, oh, this is a board I want to go polar and mix. It'll just bet 1/3 because out of position just has so many snap folds. I don't hate just doing this. So I mentioned earlier with the raising, if they probe, also what you'll find is that if you do some data, there's a lot of I won't say what I was going to say actually because I don't necessarily want to give that away, but there's a lot of potential leaks in the delay notes, not only versus recreationals but versus regs as well. So we have another situation versus a recreational that's similar to the other one, and as you can see, they probe and we'll just raise and barrel off. I don't think we have to jam. I think we can just bet this. We'll get the same amount of folds either way. Oh, and we got punished. So twice we tried that and we got punished. You guys are going to be like, what are you doing? You're such a clown. But, you know, it's not going to work every time. Oh, I don't know if that's a good or a bad card. It's probably a bad one. We're not going anywhere. Oh, this sucks. This really sucks. We can't fold that. Although, I don't know. I mean, is it really ever bluffing there? I mean, cold called the 3-bet. When I think of that range, I think of all like middling pairs and stuff. And he's not shoving ace king, so if they somehow for some reason decide to cold call 3-bet, you know what, maybe actually just folding that is better, because his range is gonna be like 10s, jacks, queens, maybe queen jack, but like why would you do that? Maybe ace king, but again, why would ace king shove? And also a lot of the broadways with a spade are kind of blocked by the board. So in retrospect, I think that was a punt. I really think that was a punt. We're getting close to the end of the video, so we got counter exploited by the recreational there with 2s, and then we got hit there. But what can we do? Just have to call. Got a call. This player marked as a special player. Yeah. If I can raise. Here I guess I have to call a special player, but we got it. I'm surprised at that. Here, I'm just thinking, do we have to raise? Probably folding. Yeah. Well, at least we got the stack back. And I forgot they're not called special players anymore. I have them labeled as gamblers. It's funny though, usually on stream or in some of these live plays, I'll be like, oh, I'm playing a recreational, I can't fold. And then I'm always wrong. Actually, we probably actually are close to the half an hour. So I probably shouldn't have opened that table. Let's sit out next blinds, see how we did in this little small session. He bet big, so that usually means we can donk more when it pairs. Definitely call here. Did not expect a raise. feel like when they probe, it's better off to do this. I mean, how much showdown value do we really have? I guess check. I know this is like a really good turn in river, but I'm not so confident that I'd be betting my higher pairs twice. And clubs obviously sucks. That's another one I'm going to run, and again, kind of, oops. And again, going with theme. This is a spot that will happen often. It's blind v blind, we see bet flop, and then the top card pairs. And I'm fairly certain when the top card pairs, we can still bet a reasonably bigger size. But I'll run it and see. But anyways, let me pull up my Hold'em Manager to see how we did this session. Well, we booked a win, but the red line was terrible. Our win-win soft flop wasn't great. I bet river's kind of low, but it's only 450 hands. There's a couple hands I would like back. This one for sure. I think this is definitely, I think it's definitely a fold, honestly. So I would like that one back. These twos, we went for the exploit and we got exploited back. I'm still okay with that. This one I'm also curious about turn. It's definitely interesting. This one, love when people raise me in position. Oh. I think we have to defend turn. You see there's a lot of, oops, I keep hitting the same one. There's a lot of folding there on the river that will lead to the bad red line. But anyways, as always, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Let me know if you found any mistakes or if you play things different. I'm curious to hear what you think of some of those fish lines where you check back, race a turn. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think. So with that, until next time, good luck at the tables.